I never thought I'd have the guts to tell this story, but here I am, at 77 years old, sitting in my quiet kitchen with a cup of tea, remembering it all like it was yesterday. The smell of wet earth after a rain still hits me hard. It takes me right back to that old farm in rural Mississippi where I grew up. You know, the kind of place where the dirt sticks to your bare feet and the air hums with cicadas. But that smell isn't just about home. It's tied to the darkest secret of my life, one that shattered everything I knew. If you've ever carried a burden that feels too heavy to share, you might understand. Stick with me. This is my truth, raw and real. And hey, if you're watching from somewhere far away, drop a comment below. Where are you tuning in from? It means the world to hear from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe if these kinds of heartfelt stories speak to you. I promise, there's more where this came from. I was born in 1948 on a rundown sharecropper's farm that didn't even have a proper name. Folks just called it the Colonel's Place. My name's Mary, but everyone called me Little Mary back then, or just Mary Lou when they were feeling kind. Life was simple, but it was ours. We lived in a tiny shack made of weathered wood, with a leaky roof and floors that creaked under every step. There was me, my mom Josephine, a quiet woman with the kindest hands, my grandma Beatrice, who was the rock of our family, my grandpa John, a silent man who worked from dawn till dusk in the fields, and my uncle Anthony, my mom's younger brother, who was just 16, but already breaking his back in the cotton rows. Our home was cramped, but it buzzed with life. At night, I'd curl up on a mat with Mom, while Grandma and Grandpa had the only real bed in a little room off to the side. Uncle Anthony squeezed into a corner without a door, calling it his space. Dinners were the best part. We'd gather around a rough wooden table Grandpa had carved himself, sharing whatever we had. We weren't rich, but we didn't go hungry. Grandma Beatrice was a healer, you see. She knew every herb in the woods, every root that could mend a fever or soothe a broken heart. People from miles around came to her for help, midwives, remedies, even prayers. They couldn't always pay in cash, so they'd bring eggs, chickens, or fresh veggies from their gardens. Our table always had a little extra because of her. Mom helped Grandma with the house chores and the healing work, but she was always tense, especially when the farm owner's son, Augustus, rode by on his big black horse. Grandpa and Uncle Anthony were out in the fields most days, coming home bone-tired. There were whispers and glances among the adults that I didn't understand as a kid, especially about my dad. No one ever mentioned him. It was like he was a ghost, a hole in our family that I felt but couldn't name. Grandma Beatrice was magic to me. She'd call me over while she pounded clay for pots or dried herbs in the kitchen. "Come here, Mary Lou," she'd say in her gravelly voice. I'd sit on a worn stool, watching her hands turn mud into something beautiful. She'd hum old songs from her ancestors, tunes that echoed from across the ocean, from Africa, she told me once. "These marks on the pots? They're stories from our people," she'd whisper, her few remaining teeth flashing in a smile. Mom would watch us from the doorway, looking like she wanted to say something, but always swallowing it back. I was curious as a cat, always peeking at scraps of newspaper blowing in the wind, trying to make sense of the squiggles. Mom got nervous when she caught me. "Put that down, girl, it'll bring trouble." But Grandma just grinned and encouraged me. "Keep asking questions, child." Over our heads hung this shadow, Augustus, the owner's son. I'd feel Mom stiffen when he passed, pulling me inside and shutting the door tight. I didn't get it then. I was just a kid born from a secret that weighed a ton. Sometimes, when I look back, I wonder how different things could have been. But life doesn't work that way, does it? It throws you curveballs, and you either swing or strike out. As I got older, around 8 or 9, things started shifting. One afternoon, We heard horse hooves thundering up. Mom's face went white as a sheet. "He's coming," she whispered to Grandma. Before I could blink, Grandma grabbed me and shoved me into an old wooden crate in the kitchen corner. "Stay quiet, Mary Lou. Don't move for anything." The lid slammed shut, leaving me in the dark with the smell of musty wood choking me. I heard heavy boots stomp in, a man's rough voice, and Mom speaking low and shaky. Time dragged on forever in that box, my heart pounding like a drum. When Grandma finally lifted the lid, her eyes were sad in a way I'd never seen. "It's okay now, child." But it wasn't. Mom was in the corner, crying silently. That night, as I lay beside her on the mat, I felt her tremble and sob. It was the first time I truly sensed the weight of our family's secret. Grandma vanished for a few days after that, and I was terrified she'd left us for good. When she returned, the whispers in the house grew louder. I started dreaming about the big farmhouse up the hill, the Colonel's place, with its glowing windows and electric lights, a rarity back then. My best friend Lizzie and I would sneak close to the stables, dreaming of riding those shiny horses. One time, I touched a brown mare's soft nose, but the foreman yelled, "Get out of here, you! This ain't for your kind." Lizzie was fair-skinned, but I was dark like Mom and Grandma, and that made all the difference. At 11, I woke up to blood on my mat, scared out of my mind. I screamed, and Mom came running, her face paling. "It's time," she called to Grandma. They explained I was becoming a woman, but their warnings were heavy. "Be careful around men now, Mary. Some go crazy over this." The looks from farmhands started then, stares that made me feel dirty. Worst was Augustus, his eyes following me like a predator. One night, I overheard Mom crying to Grandma. "What if it happens to her like it did to me?" Grandma hushed her. "We won't let that monster touch our girl." Those words haunted me. I stayed closer to home, learning Grandma's ways, identifying herbs like dandelion for blood cleansing or peppermint for stomach aches. She told stories of her grandma, who came from Africa on those awful ships, bringing knowledge passed down through generations. Grandma helped with more than sickness. Women came secretly for problems, unwanted pregnancies, or bruises from husbands. "Sometimes we do what's necessary," she'd say. I watched my first birth at 12, a neighbor's baby boy emerging in a miracle of cries and blood. But joy mixed with sorrow. Grandma treated battered wives, explaining why they stayed. "Chains aren't always visible, child." In 1961, at 13, Lizzie, now 16 and working at the big house, burst in excited. "There's a party at the Colonel's. They need help serving. Come on, it'll be fun." I knew Mom and Grandma forbade me near there, especially Augustus, but curiosity burned. "We can sneak," Lizzie urged. Against my better judgment, I went, slipping out after everyone slept. The house was a dream, lights, fancy dresses, laughter. We entered through the back. I washed dishes while Lizzie served. My hands pruned in soapy water when chaos erupted outside. Augustus stumbled in, drunk, his eyes glassy. "You! I know you!" he slurred, grabbing my arm. I tried to pull away, but he dragged me to the dark yard. The music drowned my screams. He threw me down, tearing my clothes. The pain was unbearable, sharp, suffocating. "Black meat's always sweeter," he sneered when done. I lay there broken until Lizzie found me, bloodied and numb. She took me to her mom's, who cleaned me up with herbs learned from Grandma. But shame kept me from home. Next morning, Mom and Grandma arrived, frantic. I confessed through tears, Lizzie explaining the party. Their horror confirmed my worst fears. Back home, I spilled everything. Mom broke. "Mary, Augustus, he did the same to me years ago." Grandma added, He's your father." The world spun. Mom had loved him once, a foolish girl believing his promises. The colonel threatened our family if she didn't stay away. Augustus forced her anyway. She kept me out of love, hiding the pregnancy. They'd protected me, but failed. Grandma brewed a bitter tea to ensure no baby came from that night. "Why didn't you do this for Mom?" I asked. Mom wept. "I wanted you, despite everything." We kept it from Grandpa and Uncle Anthony, fearing their rage. But gossip spread. They found out from Lizzie's dad. They stormed the big house with clubs, demanding justice. The colonel pulled them inside. We waited, hearts in throats, expecting gunshots. They emerged shaken. The colonel knew everything now. He offered money to leave quietly, a house anywhere, far away. Grandma picked the priciest one she could find, a 2-story in a Jackson suburb. We packed, saying tearful goodbyes. Whispers followed. Some envied our luck, wishing their daughters the same for escape. It sickened me. The new house was heaven. Shiny floors, real beds, even hot water. But neighbors stared, whispering about those black folks. Witch, they called Grandma. Jobs were scarce, prejudice thick. Money dwindled. We enrolled in night school. Me, Mom, Uncle Anthony. Bullies mocked our accents, our skin. But we persisted. A turning point. Our teacher, Miss Rose's husband, was dying of liver failure. Grandma offered herbs. Skeptical, she accepted. Days later, he improved. A miracle. Word spread, doors opened. Grandma's healing took off. Uncle Anthony got work. Mom met Samuel through a classmate, kind, respectful. They married, she moved, but visited often. I met Theodore at Uncle Anthony's wedding to Lourdes. Tall, warm, a furniture maker. We dated. He proposed. Terrified, I confessed my past. "That doesn't change you," he said, holding me. We wed, built a life, had 4 kids, Anthony Jr., Josephine, Peter, Rosa. Years flew, family grew, grandkids, great-grandkids. Theodore passed suddenly at 65, heart attack in his shop. It broke me, but life pushed on. I carry Grandma's knowledge, healing like she did. Mom had 3 more kids. We're close. Looking back, pain shaped me, but love saved me. If my story hits home, share yours in the comments. Have you overcome something similar? Subscribe for more. Your support keeps these tales alive. God bless.